3, 2, 1,
jingle! Happy time has just begun. Brother, sister, smart, dumb, fun.
Yeah.
Ooh, I turned that way down because
Jenny, that's my favorite 80s sitcom opening music ever.
Yeah.
You know, like you can just see the misunderstanding. Like, hey, look, we're almost sat in the same seat.
And then they do the turn away, and then they're like, and then they turn to the camera, and they're like, yeah. That's exactly right. So great.
You know, this commercial. It could almost be. Was it a Sunny Delight commercial music?
Oh my God.
Or
Mentos.
Mentos.
Or like Mentos. I was about to say the Fresh Maker. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh,
Right,
it is indeed.
That's really awful. Okay, good. That's the best one yet of the bad music that we have for the show. That's the best of the worst. Well, there's actually probably ones that are worse than that, and that one's pretty bad. So
that was pretty bad. That one's hysterically bad. The other ones are just plain old, like, bad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and brothers, here we are. Hey, everybody, welcome. Is the Brothers Sisters Smart Dumb Fun? This is our first show of the new year because last week. I know it was still 2023 when we were showing last week, but now that we're here this week on January 7th, it's a whole new year, whole new show.
And my New Year's resolution for this year's show is to have a margarita.
That's good. You know, people that there's a lot of people right now that are enjoying dry January. I'm enjoying wet January. Wet January. You know, it's funny because Joe and I went out to the bar last night because we, by the way, and planned all of our stuff for our Brother Sisters game show. It's going to be really good.
Oh.
And we did that at the bar last night, and it was like there was like nobody there. So we're over at Louis, and it was like a desert. It was like it's like crickets. And so we're talking to Ryan, the bartender. And he's like, yeah, he's like, dry January is really biting us in the ass. I'm like, oh, dry January. That's a thing.
Well, give me another drink then. Let me help you out.
Well, it was so funny because we ended up doing pull tabs last night because they have a little pull tabs machine. And so I could not stop winning last night. I was like a cash machine last night. I won like $55 playing pull tabs. So we gave 20 of it to the bartenders.
Exactly. Tip your bartender.
Yeah. Tip your bartender because nobody was there last night. It was weird too because Saturday night's usually pretty crowded because it's karaoke night. But I think everybody's A, doing dry January, at least for another week, and then B is broke. And Ryan's like, shouldn't resolution season be over already? I'm like, it is the, like the 6th. So
yeah, I was gonna say, once the kids get back to school, then the New Year's resolutions can wither away.
That's true because then everybody gets all time squeezed and stressed out, and they're like, this is stupid. We're not doing any of this. So, and that's why, and brothers, that's why this week we're going to help you re-embrace your resolutions. Here we are on January 7th. We're a full week into the new year, and already your resolve is starting to slip, and we're here to help you.
It's tenuous. It's tenuous.
You're doing that thing where you're like, I know it's going to happen. And the good news is you're going to listen today, and then you're going to hang on for at least one more week. You're welcome.
Heroes.
America. So yes, Heroes. Yeah, that's right. And again, here we are. We are real American heroes or whatever.
Something like that. There's got to be a song.
Exactly like that. Totally. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into this. It's Viva la Resolutions 2024. We're talking about those resolutions. So I know. So
I love the leotards.
Yeah, I really love this because it has all the great fitness gimmicks of all time. And honestly, the best one is the GIF I have there of the shake weight. If there was ever a better piece of exercise equipment that was created, I don't know what it is. And if you've never seen the Saturday Night Live commercial where they're using the shake weight, it's funny, straight funny. And yeah, a little bit gross, a little bit inappropriate, but still funny. So I highly recommend YouTube. If you're listening, go to your YouTube and type in Saturday Night Live shake weight.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, on its own, it's gross and inappropriate. So why wouldn't a comedy sketch of it be gross and inappropriate? It would be difficult not to make it gross and or inappropriate.
Also true. 100% true.
Mhm.
So for those of you that are new to the show, of course, we've just talked about nothing for the last, I don't know, 4 minutes. Good job, Ann Brothers.
Thank
We're
you.
doing
Thank
what
you very much.
we're doing what we were built to do.
Mhm.
So this is who we are. If you're a new listener, here's your synopsis. We are Ann and Janice brothers. We are, in fact, sisters. That's not just good marketing. Therefore, we are the brother sisters. We are in our 50s, which means we learned our keyboard skills in typing class in high school on typewriters. What year did you take typing in? I took it when I was a sophomore.
I took it when I was a junior. I think maybe I was a sophomore. I was probably, I think everybody had to take it when they were sophomore. So I want to say 1986.
Okay. Did you have Mr. Gorsuch?
No, I had I can't remember what her name was. She was a very attractive woman, and she always looked at me with a bit of pity because having somebody with dyslexia learn to type,
Ooh, that's rough.
it was rough. It was so rough. And she looked at me like, "You're not even cute enough to be an air hostess, and you can't even type."
Oh.
So I was like, "Oh, I'm kind of screwed. I better marry well." So anyway, yes. So I remember taking it. It was a year-long class, and I got up to 60 words a minute if you didn't mind a bunch of
Good.
mistakes, and 30 words a minute if you didn't mind a few mistakes.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I had Mr. Gorsuch, and I could remember being there in typing class as Mr. Gorsuch was reading the paper. I'm like, God damn, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be Mr. Gorsuch, where I coach basketball and read the newspaper during typing class.
You know, God, yeah, exactly. I was like, there is nothing better than being a lousy teacher.
Yeah, and Mr. Gorsuch, he was a totally nice guy. I thought Mr. Gorsuch was awesome. He didn't say much. He's like, okay, we're gonna do this today and do this, and you need to be on this thing in your little manual, and you need to do this today, and then that would be it. And then we would just crank away at that thing, the IBM with the ball, and yeah, it was heaven on earth.
Oh
What else?
man.
Okay. So also here on the Brothers Sisters, we talk about smart stuff, dumb stuff, as we've just demonstrated to you, fun stuff, or any combination of the three. We are not cool or hip. We know this because we check the weather every day to make sure that we are wearing the right shoes, a heavy enough coat, and to make sure that we have enough time to get where we need to go. I know. That's what you do when you're 50.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
Yes, but we always have the right coat and shoes and get there on time.
That is also 100% true. I don't like to be late, and so I always leave extra early, as my husband can attest when we are there 4 hours before our flight at the airport, enjoying an airport drink because that's what you do in the time while you're waiting for your flight. We are also not sexy because of the above stated choices about shoes and weather conditions, and we don't buy shoes for how cute they are. We buy shoes for how practical they are. So, and I know there's 50-year-olds out there going like, I'm not like that. I'm like, well, you're one of those other kind of 50-year-olds. Okay, good. This podcast is not a murder, celebrity, or fitness podcast, unless you're talking about fitness taco in my mouth. What? Yeah.
What? No way. I was just thinking about fitness cake in my mouth.
Wait, you have cake?
No.
You get cake. No?
My
Okay.
cake.
Look, it's Tim. Tim Redlinger is with us. He earned an academic award for typing in 1989. Tim, you are my hero, man. My hero.
Man, oh
Dude,
man.
how fast did you type? I don't know, Tim. I don't know if you're still with us or not, but Tim, at some point, you're going to have to tell us how many words a minute. Because at my best, I was about 70 words a minute with no mistakes. If you wanted, I was up in the 80s if you wanted lots of mistakes. But I need to know what an academic award looks like for typing. Like, just how good were you, Tim?
I was in typing class with a kid who had been playing the organ, not his organ, the actual musical instrument, the organ, since he was like 5. And so he could type like 120 words a minute, no mistakes.
Was that Neil Johnson?
It was. It totally was. He used to go to typing
totally.
competitions. Beat
So
all the girls.
That must be what academic excellence in typing looks like.
It
I
must
don't know.
be.
That's amazing.
That was the
All I have to say, Tim, is you're probably still a wizard at it, because I know it actually is painful for me to watch my students type. It literally hurts physically for me to watch them type, and then they'll like see me typing. They're like, Miss Brothers, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know, typing class in high school. The fact that they don't teach any sort of keyboarding or typing skills now does make me sad for them. So there's that.
My
So
students used to say the same thing to me, like, Miss Brothers, you type so fast. And I just wanted to laugh at them because I'm like, I am practically a chimpanzee on this. Practically. The fact that you don't know
Mash
how
with
bad I
palm.
am at this just shows how much you don't know about typing.
It's okay. So anyway, yeah, so that's the type of podcast that we are. We're basically not any of those cool, interesting things, you know. We have been told that we are good to listen to at work, according to Chip, our friend. If you listened last week, you listened to Chip, and yeah, he listens to us at work, which is awesome. So
Mhm.
see, Ann, we could be that. We could be that podcast.
We can be
So there
that
you go.
podcast.
You can find us at our. Oh wait, there's an important one I have to talk about real quick.
Mhm.
You can find us at our. We have a new website. We are on Spotify, YouTube, the Facebook, and Instagram. And look, you guys, we have stickers.
Oh,
That's
you can't
right.
really see it too well in the light of your and your light. You
Oh,
have to pull it back a little bit towards. Oh, there you
wait.
go. Oh,
I'm just
there you
trying to
are.
get
There.
the angle so it's not so
Very good.
reflecty. Yes, you guys, we have stickers and it has a QR code right on the sticker so that you can go right to the new website and you can access all of us on the website by just going there. So
Mhm.
yeah, you can find us. We're everywhere. This is not a rated G, PG, or PG-13 podcast. We do swear. We do talk about things that are naughty. It's not. We don't get gross. Don't get me wrong. But if you are offended by language, sometimes we swear. Sometimes Ann says things about her vibrator. So,
Or the shake weights.
ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. Tim says we're the real heroes. I don't remember my rate. I think it was around 90. Accuracy is key. You just said a mouthful right there, Tim.
Mhm.
Accuracy is key, and 90 words a minute, especially in high school, that's killer. That is killer.
Killer. Yeah.
So
90 is
yeah,
a dream, a faraway dream where
that's great,
typewriters
Tim.
type what I say, not what I do with my fingers.
All I know, Tim, is I think that's impressive. You were getting things done back in 1989 while other people were just being mediocre. You were being excellent. No joke. So good job. So that is amazing. Truly amazing. Is there anything else you need to know about us? You can join us on Spotify. You can follow us. And you guys, we really would love it if you just took the time to subscribe, follow, like, answer the polls, do fun stuff like that. Because, if you have some free time, we're here for you. There you go. All right. All right. So smart, dumb, fun stuff. We like to start out early in our podcast, kind of reflecting on the smart, dumb, or fun stuff that we did or saw this week. And we're going to start with you.
I did something. I wasn't sure if it was smart, dumb, or fun, or all of them. So last year, one of my New Year's resolutions. I don't know if it was really a resolution, but I was like, I decided I wanted to know more about embroidery, the skill of embroidery. So I bought a different book. I got a bunch of floss, and I made this pillow. And it says turtles. Fuck yeah! And then I did.
I'm going to bring that a little bit closer so that everybody can see that. In fact, we're going to focus entirely on Ant. Oh wait, no, I just did that wrong. Nope, did that one wrong too. Nope, now it's just me. Nope, we're going back to that one. All right.
Okay. So
Now, if you have $3,000 that you want to drop on that pillow, and we'll sell you that pillow to raise money for the Brothers Sisters' cause, it will only cost you $3,000 because that's how many hours Ann spent making that pillow.
I see, and it even has a beautiful border,
That's right.
The turtles, and each turtle is different. There are 8 different turtles, not any of the same. 8 different turtles. So that's
right,
what I just finished it. I just finished it before the new year, and I was like, "Fuck."
Nicely done. So again, you guys, if you got a few dollars you want to drop on Ann's pillow, let us know. She will crank out another pillow for you. It will take her the entirety of 2024, but at the end of 2024, you will have a Turtles Fuck Yeah pillow. So
The sweetest ass pillow. Actually, I have my next pillow, Jenny, is for you. I have it in mind. I have it, and that's the thing. Like, one of the things you can do if you want to. I didn't follow a pattern. They have these cool markers that they use that quilters use. It's with a disappearing ink, so you can draw out what you want and then embroider it, and then it disappears. So that's what I did.
totally, we're gonna throw a humongous shout out to the quilting community because you guys are innovators. Innovators.
They totally
Yeah,
are.
and
Those women are not kidding. They're not kidding.
Nope. No. If you want people that get shit done, it's quilters. Quilters get shit done. Another shout out to the quilters. I don't have that sort of drive inside of me. And all I know is that if the quilters ever decide that they want to throw down on something, it's going to be theirs. The world will simply be theirs. So Yeah,
Game over.
because they work well together. They like to share their knowledge. They have the little, what do you call them? The tiny little sewing machines?
Oh, the featherweights.
Featherweights. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So much admiration and love to the quilters out there. We love you. You keep on quilting. We will keep on admiring you. So there. Okay, good. All right. I have a couple of dumb things. And my first dumb one is that since here, this is my last day before of Christmas break. I got to go back to school tomorrow, which is, another bummer that we won't talk about. But I watched a lot of TV on this break because I had so much TV binging and catching up to do. And I watched a lot of shows on Hulu. Started watching Reservation Dogs, which is very good, by the way. Watched The Bear, a couple times through, and watched Fargo. And one of the commercials that keeps coming up over and over and over and over again when you watch Hulu are the ads for either hims.com or hers.com. And basically, the hims.com are all products so that men can get an erection. That's it. That's it. And I thought that was interesting. But then they started showing the hers.com, and you would think that the hers.com would be like, hey, maybe this will be for women's pleasure as well. It's not. Everything is aimed towards anxiety and depression, helping women with their anxiety and depression. I'm like, man, we're going to help you get a Woody. Girls, we're going to help you to stop being so sad and anxious. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean about what's happening with women?
Duncan said the funny thing is, like, for every 3 Hims commercials, you see 1 her commercial. So there's
Totally,
like
and they're
way
like,
more hard-on commercials.
totally. And it's like, are you sad and depressed and going bald? Then you should have the stuff off of hers.com. I'm like, oh my God.
I just think it's funny. It's like, maybe they're trying to tell us that if men had more hard-ons, women wouldn't be so anxious.
I don't know. All I know is I'm like, that just floored me. And I was just like, huh. This basically says what you need to know about the state of women and men. And it's just like, I'm like, wow, this is, and I just chewed on that for days and days. All right. And the other dumb thing is, and I can't stop seeing it. Now that I've seen it, it's everywhere. I've seen all of these commercials and news stories about Stanley tumblers. Apparently, Stanley tumblers are the things that you cannot get, that you must have them. Wait, Joe Peters is with us. He says getting a Woody helps with anxiety and depression. I guess, Joe.
I was like, the more boners I have, the less depressed I am. That's our problem, Jenny. We can't get boners. If we had more boners, we wouldn't be depressed.
My husband said something to me, and by the way, Joe Peters is my husband. So, yes, he watches the show. He's our number 1 fan. Joe, just want you to know, you're going to get a sticker. Okay, good. But anyway, okay, so yeah, these tumblers, they're like everywhere, and I don't know why it's a thing. So, because the Stanley Corporation has literally been making thermoses for 100 years. So I don't know. Oh, sorry, Joe. Yes, you are our number 1 fan and regional manager, which means you are going to get 2 stickers. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. So anyway, the Stanley tumbler is a thing right now. So that's the other thing. The other dumb thing is that I don't know why now all of a sudden, because the tumbler world is, everybody makes a tumbler now. Stanley makes a tumbler, Yeti makes a tumbler, Arctic makes a tumbler, Walmart has their own brand of tumblers, Target has their own brand of tumblers. I'm not sure why it is that everybody is buying the Stanley tumbler and that nobody can keep them in stock. And yeah, so somebody's going to have to explain all of that to me one day. But that's the other dumb thing for this show, is that
it's got
I'm going to have to deal with all this.
Fused vacuum insulation and the strength of steel in 1 portable bottle. Don't all the ones have that?
Kylie has.
I thought all of them had that. But anyway, I'm not sure why Stanley is cool now and why Stanley wasn't cool 5 years ago, but now they are the coolest thing ever again. And tomorrow when I go back to school, I'm going to have to deal with all this teenage angst of these people that didn't get a Stanley tumbler for Christmas. So
Duncan, my husband, who's our number 2 fan, he's number 2. He was just saying
number 2.
I know, right? His niece has a Stanley tumbler. I'm like, didn't even notice. No
clue. And Tracy Larson, who I taught with in Minnesota, Tracy, hello there. You are 100% right. Because then what happens is that every kid, because now Now young children can't possibly go to class without a water bottler or a Stanley tumbler with them. And as a result of that, then you've got like 30 of them in your classroom, and somebody's always kicking one over and getting water everywhere. Or then when one drops them off a table and it sounds like, like something is exploding because they're made of effing metal. I hate them so much because now I'm like, children are going to die of dehydration if they go 50 minutes without having water, surprise.
Surprise. Well, maybe they're like the teachers and they actually have vodka in their Stanley tumblers.
Well, it's so funny because for the longest time, like when I was teaching in Denver Public, kids were not allowed to have water bottles because they would put vodka in them. Okay. So it was like, yeah, no water bottles. I'm like, okay, that was easy enough. But now it's like kids are like, oh, I'm so thirsty. I forgot my water bottle. I'm like, there's literally a water fountain 10 feet from this door. Fine.
I was like, yeah, I remember we went to school. Oh, that's another thing I'm going to write down someday. Oh, we're in our 50s, so we actually we're not allowed to have water bottles in school.
No, you had to drink out of the water fountain, and you got like one water break during the day. Or if you managed to run in right after recess, when there was like still like 10 seconds, you could be like, but then you had to, push and shove to get to the front of the line to scoop your 2 sips of water before you ran to class. And Mrs. Connor was like, don't you ask for no water breaks. You're like, okay.
I'm so thirsty. I never remember. The only thing I ever wanted was Kool-Aid or soda pop. So
I know. But after recess with a spirited game of dodgeball or British Bulldog, you needed some water. Imagine how hydrated imagine how much better we would have been at all of that, Anne, had we just been hydrated during school with a Stanley tumbler.
I would have been a much better typist. I would have married a much richer man.
That's right. You would have been able to get to that 70 words a minute with no mistakes, Anne.
Exactly.
If only you'd been properly hydrated.
School, here I come.
Love that for you. So here we are, you guys. It is resolution season, and you guys, I know it's January 7th. You can do it. You can go one more week into resolution season. And so I looked up on the internet some rando sites, top 10 resolutions, and here they are. And it's funny, they don't really change. Because I looked at the ones from last year, and you know what? They're the same.
Exactly.
You need to exercise more, lose weight, get organized, learn a new skill or hobby, live life to the fullest. Whatever. Save more money, spend less money, quit smoking, spend more time with friends and family, travel more, read more. Those are the top 10 resolutions. And so what we thought we'd do today is we're simply going to go through and we are going to kind of talk about a little bit about those things. And you have some thoughts on the whole weight loss thing. And I can't wait to hear that because I think that's probably one that kind of polarizes people more than any. So let's jump into it. Okay, I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to talk a little bit about exercising more. And I think exercise is a fantastic thing. And if for no other reason, it's because of that mind-body connection. It really is one of those things that makes you really do need to move in any way, shape, or form. And it's one of those things I've sort of rediscovered recently. And the funny thing about exercise in me is it's the first thing to go. It's the first thing I compromise, but it really should be the last thing I compromise. My resolution this year is actually to worry less about my job because I'm tired of giving every minute to my profession during the school year and nothing to me. So that ends this year because I need that to end. Otherwise, it's going to end me. So if you want to exercise more, here are 13 pieces of advice I have for you. Number 1, take it slow. If you're injured yourself, you're back on the shelf and then you're not exercising. And just remember, you don't have to go balls to the wall. And that was a hard lesson for me because I spent all of my first 40 years of my life going balls to the wall. Apply the 10-minute rule, which means that if you don't feel like exercising, put your gear on, take your water, exercise for 10 minutes. And if you feel like you absolutely cannot go after that 10 minutes, then quit. But if you think you can go for 10 minutes and you're like, yeah, okay, I did that 10 minutes, go 10 more minutes, and if that's how you need to do it to keep yourself going, then do it. Seek help or advice before you start a new program. The internet is chock full of programs. Some of them may be a good fit for you. Some of them might not. So you might want to seek maybe some advice of somebody that does it a lot, is a professional or a doctor or something like that. Get clothes that you're comfortable in. I myself do not like form-fitting exercise clothes. It's a nightmare for me. I never have liked the form-fitting stuff. Good shoes and socks make a big difference. Ann and I made fun of ourselves earlier about our shoe choices, but that's a real thing. Pick the right shoes. It will make a big difference for you. And socks are important too, because that's the thing about, if you want to become a walker, if your feet start to blister, then you're going to stop walking. So pick out shoes that, and socks that will help you not blister, and understand what's happening to you when you blister, because then there's things you can do to your feet that will help you. Blisters are a result of friction. So, I use Body Glide on my feet, and that keeps me from blistering. I know. Fun fact. See, number 7. This is ties in so nicely to what we were just talking about, is get a cool water bottle, like a Stanley tumbler.
Or just a regular water bottle and put cool stickers on it.
You could absolutely just put cool stickers on it. And honestly, I just really don't believe that you need to spend $50 on a water bottle. Because I think a Stanley tumbler is $45 retail. And I think because of their scarcity right now, like they're going on eBay for like $150 or $200, which I think is dumb.
Too much.
So, yeah. Ann, wait a second. Ann, maybe that's what we should be doing. We should be selling, brothers, sisters, Stanley tumblers on our website.
Yeah, indeed.
Or maybe we give them away as prizes.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Light bulb. Wait, I need a light bulb to put over my head right now. Because I'm so smart. Let's see. Set realistic goals for yourselves. I think I can't remember which medical organization says 3 to 5 days a week is about how often you should be exercising. Avoid gimmicky exercise equipment. And if you don't know what I'm talking about this stuff right here. Oh, yeah. I don't know. That stuff's pretty great. I
wish the thing would just shake my butt actually worked. I would oh man, I would love that. It feels good and I have less butt. Yay, I win.
For those of you that don't know what Ann's talking about, if you can't see this, so it's a picture of one of those butt shakers from like the 70s. It's the one right down here in the lower right-hand corner. And do you remember that when we would go to Aunt Sarah's apartment complex, that they had one of those in their little gym? Do you remember that?
I do remember. I remember putting it other places besides my butt.
Interesting. Oh, I'm just going to leave that one alone. If you're going to a gym, sometimes when it comes to the type of exercise you do, especially for women in our 50s, as we get older, resistance training and working with weights is one of the best things you can do for your body. It builds muscle and bone density. Bone density is something that decreases with women as we start to go through menopause. That's when you start to see increases in osteoporosis. And by lifting weights and increasing that muscle density and bone density, it really will kind of help fight that off. So, don't be afraid to get yourself into the weighty part of the gym. It doesn't have to be all cardio. Resistance training is a big deal, but sometimes I know women that will stay away from the weights in the resistance area because it's full of bros. And just remember, that's your gym too. And, as long as you are comfortable going in there, sometimes it's nice to start with some sort of personal trainer at a gym, because they'll teach you how to properly use the equipment, and they'll kind of sort of plow the road for you as you're getting to know. So that way, when you're comfortable, you know what to use, how to use it, and you can stake your claim for the gym bros out there and just move them out of your way. Stretching is great. And as a massage therapist, you can kind of talk about the importance of stretching. And just remember, you don't have to have a gym membership to exercise. There's lots of things you can do. On this next slide, and I will go ahead and share the slideshow with everybody, some great ideas for exercise. Again, and I remember when you were big on sweating to the oldies. You can go for a walk. It gets tough this time of year because of the weather. You can invest in some home gym equipment, and just remember that there is a lot of really reasonably priced gym equipment. My little gym that I have down in my basement is full of equipment that I've bought on Amazon that's in the $200 range that works really well. I don't have a $2,000 Peloton. I have a really good little exercise bike. It cost me about $150. Also, you guys, don't be afraid to hit Facebook Marketplace. There's always people that are trying to get rid of their New Year's resolution gym equipment. Right now, everybody is going into debt in order to buy Pelotons. And hopefully that works out for you. But if it doesn't, you can always sell it on Marketplace. And there's, like I said, Facebook Marketplace is full of, that sort of used exercise equipment. YouTube is fat with workout channels. There's a couple here that I like. I really like HasFit. I like HasFit for a couple of reasons. A, they're just the cutest little couple that does HasFit. And B, they do a really great job of doing different levels of exercise. You can get a great workout with HasFit without ever having to purchase a piece of fitness equipment. They do a really good job of modifying their workouts. If you have some limitations in terms of your mobility, they do a lot of really good modifications. Yoga with Adrienne, the hip hop dance workouts. It's 90s tastic. Kira Lachey does a really good hip hop 90s dance workout as well. If you've read Lessons in Chemistry, you're probably thinking about a rowing machine. If you have purchased a rowing machine, then I highly recommend Dark Horse Rowing on YouTube. He does a really great job with teaching you the stroke of. He has many different workouts. If you're working out on, if you're just starting out, if you're a more advanced rower, he does a great job, and he's super cute too. He's so cute, and he's kind of cute and nice. And you're like, I love you, Mr. Dark Horse Rowing guy. You're great. Sorry, I'm back. My bad. Okay. Anyway, you can do different body weight exercises. There's a bazillion of them. And don't forget the original Prancer size.
There's a woman who just wants to be active, and God
She wants to be
bless her.
active. And look at her, man. She is sport. She's got the white pants on. She's got the cute top. And she is ready to work it. Yeah, if you've never seen Prancer size, you must. You just must.
Yeah, you got to go see it now, because there's a woman who's like, she's living her best life. She is living her best life.
It's true. And, the woman's got like 15, 16,000 subscribers to her YouTube channel. So she's doing it right. That's all I know. So, because we love her. Go for group walks, focus on moving throughout the day, take the stairs, park further away, all that sort of stuff. I do not like the step counter thing. It makes me feel like I'm in prison. So I'm not a big step counter myself. I do try to take the stairs, though. Sometimes I work on the third floor of a school. So I really do try every single day to go work those stairs. But some days I just can't do it. It just breaks my spirit. So I just take the elevator.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I am a massage therapist. I have been for almost a decade now. And I got to tell you, motion is lotion. And people often ask me, especially women who feel that they're overweight, they'll often ask me if it's harder to work on people who are overweight than people who are thin. And the answer to that is no. The hardest people to work on are people that don't move. Though their muscle doesn't respond well to massage, it takes longer to do less. So move. Motion is lotion. Doesn't matter how you like to move, just move. You think, oh, well, I can't meet A, B, and C, and D. You don't have to meet those. There's no standard for you to meet other than try to move 3 to 5 times a week. That's all you have to do. Find what you like. I'm terrible at doing things I don't like. So I focus my exercise on what I like to do, and I don't do stuff I don't like to do. Jenny, like Jenny said, she was balls to the walls. I've never exercised like that. But at the same time, I've kept a fairly regular exercise routine for almost 20 years. I mean, I work out 3 to 5 times a week. And why? Because it's stuff I like to do. So, that's when people ask me, like, are you good at exercise? I'm like, yeah, I like to exercise. I like to exercise the way I like. And because I do what I like, it's easier to do. I mean, if somebody asked me to go run a 5K, I would never do that because I hate to run, but I love to walk. I love to do yoga. I like that kind of movement. So do what you like. That is all you need. Do what you like. And if you don't know what you like, take some time, figure it out.
Try them all. There's a bunch of stuff, fun stuff out there to do. And, it depends on, there's a lot of times you can drop a huge coin on exercise, but you don't necessarily have to. So just know that is not something that you have to do. Okay. So the next most popular New Year's resolution is losing weight. So let's talk a little bit about losing weight, because Ann and I have very different ideals. So what we're going to start with is this. We're going to start with some ways that if you're trying to lose weight, these are some things that you can try. And then what Anna's going to talk about is she's going to talk about the ideas of the why, okay, and or the some of the difficulties of what this culture does when it comes to weight loss. So we'll take this in 2 different ways. So I'm going to start with this. This is just if you're trying to lose weight, here's some things that you can do. So to first off is be clear in your thinking when it comes to why you want to lose weight. I have been told by my doctor this year that it would be helpful for, because I have arthritis in my feet, which is fairly painful. And that's just from it literally is from years of going balls to the wall in basketball or soccer or whatever sport I happen to be playing. I've managed to break lots of things in my feet. And as a result of that, I have arthritis in my feet. So one of his things that he talked about was that if I were to lose a little weight, it's probably going to be easier on those feet. I'm like, all right, that's fair enough. But to me, that's a good reason for me to lose weight. It's not because I think I'm going to be sexy or hot. I'm not built that way anyway. So be clear on why you want to do it. You can't out exercise a bad diet. So for me, that's one of the things that I have to really consider, especially because I'm older, starting to go through perimenopause, and my metabolism is kind of like a tortoise right now. If you don't know where to start when it comes to weight loss, absolutely seek some advice. Programs like Weight Watchers and Noom, they can be helpful, but like Ann points out, that the diet industry is literally the most successful failed industry ever. For the most part, if you burn more calories than you're going to lose weight. However, that's not always true. And that's one of the things you have to be careful about, is that you might get to a certain point where you're dealing with some other issue. For instance, for me in the last few years, I was restricting my calories and exercising and actually putting on weight or seeing and I thought it was me. It turns out I am dealing with, an underactive thyroid, which is kind of, parcel and part for our family. But that is something that I was not prepared or even thought about. I just thought it was me. I wasn't working hard enough. I wasn't eating right enough. And that's why I wasn't losing weight. And that was totally bumming me out, when in fact, I had some other issue that I did not know about. We underestimate the number of calories we eat. So maybe a food log app like MyFitnessPal would be helpful to you. Just know if you feel deprived, you're going to quit. That's why people are successful at some sort of huge crash diet. And then once they get to a certain point where they might plateau or they might feel deprived, and they're going to quit doing it. I'm a big fan of cutting some things out, but adding other things, cutting out some sugary stuff and adding some vegetables. But as I've gotten older, I've gotten less and less patient with myself when it comes to deprivation. I'm not good with deprivation. Mindfulness is helpful when you're eating. Planning is everything. It really is. We tend to eat things that are easy when we don't plan, and progress is not just about the scale. That's one of the things about this country, is that in this country, we've made weight loss entirely about the scale when it doesn't necessarily need to be. So with those things in mind, Ann Brothers, take it away.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that Noom has just settled a lawsuit for millions and millions of dollars because they were making it too hard for people to quit their program. You'd sign up. They'd be like, "Oh, you can stop at any time," and then they'd make it super hard for you to stop. Like they'd still keep taking money from you. So they just they just actually settled for like $24 million or something like that. So you've got to be careful with a lot of a lot of weight loss programs. The more you fail, the more they make. So I just want you to consider. I just want you to consider some of these things before you consider weight loss. What it means. The woman who is considered the ideal in America is white, 5'7" or taller, around 120 pounds, able-bodied, young, and cisgender. And only about 5% of American women are the ideal. So when we think of this ideal healthy woman, most of us cannot meet that standard no matter how much weight we lose. Diet, fasting, food log apps can all lead to disordered eating, which means not eating the right foods, not eating enough food. And a lot of diet programs focus on calorie restriction, big calorie restriction. I know I'm going to pick on Noom again. Their whole thing is like, oh, we use psychology. No, what they use is a diet plan that's often under 1,000 calories. So if you are eating less than 1,000 calories, yeah, you're probably going to lose weight, but you're not going to be able to maintain that sort of weight calorie restriction. And you're going to go off of it. You're going to gain weight back, probably more, and go through a yo-yo dieting, which leads to more disordered eating. And it's not that Noom is exceptional in that. Almost all diets do that. Diets are doomed to fail 97% of the time. It's not our fault. We can't make them successful, even though part of their structure is to blame us for the diet's failure. It's not that it's set up to fail. They blame us for the failure, but actually it is set up to fail. We can't go through that. Our bodies won't go through it. Eventually, we're going to go off the diet, which leads to yo-yo dieting, which actually causes more health problems than being overweight. No
Well,
diet.
and I'm just
Mhm,
going to interrupt you for a second, Ann. When you say that, it also makes me think of the book Sugar, Salt, Fat,
mhm,
and how the food industry and the scientists that work within the food industry, the chemistry of the food industry is designed to make eating not just taste good, but be hit the most that brain, that mouth feel,
mhm.
that brain feel that you want. And after reading that book, it really does make you understand when it comes to processed foods, how stacked the deck is against you. And so
Yeah.
when you're talking about that, it's not necessarily you, and that whole psychology piece is that you have food companies, and Frito-Lay comes to mind first, that literally spend millions of dollars a year on the psychology of what it takes to keep a person eating their product. And they spend millions of dollars in research in both chemistry and psychology to make those snacks as addictive to you as possible. So sorry, I interrupted. Continue.
No, that's okay. I also want you to think about the ideal woman and that no diet or exercise plan is going to make us white, taller, able-bodied, young, or cisgendered, or even thin enough. And a lot of people think, well, how much weight do I want to lose? And I've talked to so many people who have been on weight loss programs that are like still thinking they're not to their goal weight. So, and remember, the ideal is not just about thinness, it's about all of these other things that no diet can help you become. The new buzzword in dieting is healthy, but what does that mean? In order to determine health, blood pressure, heart rate, blood sugar numbers, mental health, food security, housing security, and bodily safety all have to be determined, not just weight. So we like to think that if you're overweight or fat, you're not healthy. But what has caused being overweight or fat? Or is overweight and fat not unhealthy? There's a lot of people who are considered overweight or fat who don't have high blood pressure, who don't have blood sugar issues, who don't have breathing issues, who have none of these things other than one number that has somehow been determined that they're not healthy. So,
That's me. That's
yeah,
literally me to a T. I literally have no red flags when I go to the doctor. It's other than the fact that I'm overweight,
right,
that I am considered
exactly,
by the charts, I'm morbidly obese.
right.
Um, I
And
don't feel
that's
morbidly obese, but that's the word. That's literally the category that is on my charts when I go into the doctor.
and that's I'll go through some resources, but one of the things that several resources talk about is how that has been determined, and it was actually a number determined by insurance companies, not by the medical health industry, and it was determined to use for white men, not for everybody. So it's a very interesting thing. We are focused on how much we weigh, and we don't focus on other factors that contribute to health. A lot of people like think, oh, if I eat this food, this is a superfood. Remember that food is not medicine; it is food. If it was miracle food that causes weight loss, we would have discovered it long ago. So a lot of times you get these health industries that have these powders, these drinks, these special meals that are going to help you be healthier. Remember, it's just food. Ask yourself, how do our doctors and medical establishment contribute to the myths about health by focusing on weight instead of the individual and their circumstances? How do diet drugs that cause weight loss make a person healthy if the side effects cause heart problems, bleeding, diarrhea, or death? So there's a lot of this. Ozempic, I think, is one right now that was used as a drug that is used by diabetics. There's so many like terrible side effects for the fact that you might be able to lose 15% of your body weight, maybe. So there's a lot of drugs that get pushed on people who are overweight or considered fat. But is it healthy if it's making you sick? All things you need to
I don't
think
know.
about.
I don't know. I don't know.
Calories in and calories out is a falsehood in the human body. The human body is not a closed system. There are more than 20 hormones that regulate body weight, and modern medicine doesn't understand how they work all together, or how they work all together, let alone how they work by themselves. So that whole thing is like, well, if you just eat less and exercise, you're going to lose weight. Not necessarily. Also,
Again,
genetics.
I'm living proof of that.
The 2,000 calories a day was established more than 100 years ago in a long disproved study designed for white European men. What is a bad diet? Maybe it's the only food a person can afford. So we talk about eating the right foods and the wrong foods. Well, what if it's the only food you can afford? What I used to, when I get, have days where I feel like, I weigh too much, I remind myself to eat some vegetables and go for a walk, or eat some vegetables and exercise. The truth is, I've never been as thin as I thought I should be. And I used to be anorexically thin. And even when I was I've done several diet plans. And even when I was in the midst of them, when I was getting compliments from people about how much weight I lost, the thought in my head was not how thin I was or how healthy I was. It was what's going to happen when I start gaining weight again. So even when I was at my thinnest, I was never thin enough. And I'm just so tired. Got so tired of it. I'm like, I'm in my late 40s. How much longer am I going to do this? So if we go to the next slide, you see some of the resources that I've started to, it started actually with the book Dietland by Sari Walker, which is a fiction. And there was a season of it on, I think on FX. It's terrible. Just read the book. It's so awesome. And it really got me thinking about how I think, not just how I think about myself body wise, but how I think about other people and how I would use, yeah.
So
and how I would use other people's physique to judge myself, either better or worse. An excellent podcast for this is Maintenance Phase with Aubrey Gordon and Michael Hobbs. They dissect the health industry from all the myths. Another excellent book, also Aubrey Gordon, is You Need to Lose Weight and 19 Other Myths About Fat People. Excellent. It's a good way for you to think about yourself and how we view overweight people. Another excellent book is Things No One Will Tell You, Tell Fat Girls by Jess Baker. Hot and Heavy, Fierce Fat Girls on Love, Life, and Fashion. This is edited by Virgie Taver. So it's a number of different essays. And The Body is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor. These are all really good books just to look at your own relationship with your body and how we project that onto other people. So I have a big problem with diet and diet industry. And that's just reflected in this. You may think, hey, you're trying to get healthy. And I don't want to take that away from you. I don't want to take away from you what works for you. I'm just saying what works for you doesn't work for everybody. It's not going to work for most people. And if it works for you, kudos. And if it doesn't work for other people, leave it alone. We get, like, hey, we need to take fat children away from parents. Hey, fat people are ruining our healthcare. I'm like, no, they're not. It's insurance companies. It's capitalism all along. Anyway, I'm going to keep talking.
And that's one of the things I think you have to remember about the diet industry is that the diet industry is literally a multi-billion, not million, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And it has, it has been for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that you just think about that,
Mm-hmm.
just consider that when you are deciding for your New Year's resolutions, when you want to lose weight. Again, and this goes back to what I said earlier is what is your why? What is your why? And that's really, what it comes down to.
Yeah.
All right. Well said, Ann Brothers. I think that's honestly, I feel like we could just stop right there and be like, yeah, let's go. And again, you guys, Dietland is one of my favorite books. It's probably one of my top 5 books ever. And part of it is because it really did. I never really thought about those points until I read that book. And those are some points that books make. It really makes you rethink how you feel about yourself and your body image and what all of this means. So, but yeah. Excellent points when it comes to that particular resolution. Let's talk about getting organized. And getting organized, you guys, this is one, it usually means some sort of planning. Where does planning time come from? I would suggest carving out a little bit. My husband and I, we talk about this all the time, but honestly, until we literally put it on the calendar and send each other little calendar invites. We won't do it. So I know Joe is we're watching this. We told each other that we were going to get together and we were going to do some organizing in the basement during my Christmas break. You know how much time we spent in the basement organizing it? 0 minutes, 0 minutes. And part of it is that we just, you know, we had to watch TV because I don't get to watch very much TV during the school year. So it's like I had all these shows I had to binge watch. We sort of sip Hulu. So, you know, there you go. Let's see what else. Three things to think about. Just think about three things every day. How you can organize them so that they can, you know, be organized more smoothly. How are other people in your life preventing you from being more organized? What can you do about that? How is your house set up? Is it set up to be organized? Does it help in some way? So start small. Actually, you know, whose mind I should have tapped on this is my stepdaughter, Sarah, because she and her husband have been doing pretty much a whole reorganization over the last year. I should have had her on as a guest next time. And don't be afraid to donate and throw stuff away. And you've talked about it before that you keep things in your house until they no longer bring you joy and then out they go. And I think that's super smart. So talk about that real quick.
Oh, it's just I'm a big secondhand rose, man. There isn't like the only thing is I'm not kidding. The only things I buy new are underwear and shoes, basically. Everything else is secondhand because then I don't feel bad about getting rid of it. And I buy some of the stupidest shit you've ever seen because it amuses the fuck out of me. And then when it stops amusing me, it goes out the door and I find something else. So yeah, I just Duncan, my husband, Duncan says I'm the most unsentimental person he's ever met. So if you give me something and it amuses me, I keep it until it doesn't. And when it stops amusing me, I donate it. So I hope that doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. But I think it's like I only have so much shelf space, and when it's done, and sometimes I have it for years, and sometimes I have it for a season, and then it's out the door. So I'm just like,
Out the door.
it's not fun
That's
anymore.
a really great way. That's a great way to not become a hoarder, which is terrifying.
Which
So
is
there you
terrifying.
go.
Exactly.
Okay. Next one, learn a new hobby or skill. This is you know, so when if this is your resolution, what do you really want to learn how to do? What is your passion? Passion makes it so much easier to be motivated when it comes to learning a new hobby or skill. Start with books or videos that are designed for kids. You put this down and you said the Kluts are a good place to start. What are the
Yeah.
Kluts?
They're books. They're books on embroidery or knitting or fingernail painting or anything, and they're designed for kids. And what they do is they have great pictures. They break things down step by step. They give you little projects to do. Often the book contains all the materials you need to make some of the projects, and it's
Ooh.
it's an inexpensive way to find out if it's something you want to spend more time and money on. So like a Klutz book might cost you anywhere from $15 to $25. You do a couple of projects and you're like, oh, that was awesome. I want to go to the next level. Or you're like, oh, that was cute. Next. So, it's a good way to start. And it's not just the Klutz books. A lot of like children's book. It's a good place. It doesn't make you feel stupid, like, or give you like these really, like, I don't know anything about this. It just gives you a place to dabble. And then you either like it and you continue or you don't like it. And you're like, that was fun. Next. And it also gives you a little sense of accomplishment. Like, hey, I could do that. What's the next thing I can do?
I love that. It's also, remember, you guys, it's very much about the process, not about the product. If you're going to start a new hobby, why? Is it because you want people to think you're awesome, or is it just that you need something to do with your brain? So, for instance, you guys, if you're looking at this at the picture here on our little slideshow here, down here at the bottom, it's a little ammonite that I drew, and what I have found is that I've started this series of what I call rage doodles, because what's happened is that as a teacher, you spend a lot of time in professional development. And a lot of time that professional development is something that you've sat through a million times. And, as a 24-year educator, I've now sat through hundreds or thousands of hours worth of professional development. And I have found that I have no patience for it anymore. So rather than being a complete jagweed and a nightmare during a professional development, I sit quietly and rage doodle. And so what you're looking at there is one of my practice rage doodles, and I'm getting pretty good at it.
No, I would get my table going and then sit there like it wasn't me that made everybody at my table like totally break out in laughter at an inappropriate time. And I would look at everybody like, geez, what's wrong with them?
Yeah, what a bitch, cat.
I know, exactly. Oh my God, they're so unprofessional.
So that's my way of dealing with my absolute contempt for having to sit through yet another professional development, is that I doodle, and I have little bits of, I bring my little colored pens with me, and I rage doodle. And actually, I have also Aunt Julie to thank for this, because she bought me one of those Zentangle books
Mhm.
years ago. And I do spend some time with that book, because there's some really cool stuff in there, and some of it is, it has purpose, like making a little ammonite, and sometimes it's just shapes and colors. And I literally start with a line, and then I draw another line, and then another line, and then it takes me somewhere. And sometimes the lines are straight, sometimes they're diagonal, sometimes they're curvy, and sometimes they end up as an ammonite, and there you go. So that's my
Excellent.
new hobby or skill: rage doodling to keep from murdering. Yay! Yay, art. All right, so this one is this resolution literally is it's a pet peeve for me when people say you have to live life to the fullest. And I don't even know what that means. I don't know what it means to live life to the fullest, because I think everybody has a definition of what is a full life, and what they want from their lives. And I think if we spent less time looking at what our lives are supposed to be like on social media, we would find some contentment in our own lives again. And I feel like that's been lost somewhere. And that's why people are thumping each other in order to get Stanley tumblers, rather than just buying some other tumbler. So I don't know.
Exactly.
But
And then putting some awesome stickers on it. So
totally. Like, and you mean one of these stickers?
that's
This brother
exactly what I
sister
mean.
sticker?
That's exactly what I mean, Jenny Brothers.
I think that's exactly what you mean. Sorry. I've now gone to the sticker so many times in this broadcast. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what that means. I'm gonna not try on that one. So
Yeah. It's like
bucket list,
exactly
thing, stuff,
stuff. I'm like,
Tumblr. Ooh,
whatever
yeah.
works.
So Tumblr's getting knocked over, making life miserable in the classroom. Here we go. All right, sorry, I'm off track here. Okay, and this is actually a good one. A good resolution is to save money or spend less money. Andy, what'd you take this one?
Oh, don't have children. Children are
Okay.
very expensive. Dang, I don't have children myself. So I see my friends with children, they never have money. So I'm like, you know why? Because you keep giving it to them like in food and shelter. Like, damn.
Clothing and Stanley tumblers.
But let's say you've made that precious mistake and had children. Okay, whatever, because they're the future, blah, blah, blah. If you have children, how can each member of the family contribute to this goal? I think it's important, for everybody. It's you're a family. All the money comes in. What can you do to be a family that you want to spend less? It's a great way to teach kids about money. I mean, Jenny, you know how much training Jenny and I had about money? Zero. So why
We had
not
about money.
start?
Yeah, the
I think
training
maybe
you
when
and
I
I
got
had
to
about
high
money
school.
was watching mom and dad fight over the checkbook. We're going to be this many dollars in the hole. It just literally, like, that was our training with money. I'm like, checkbook bad, payday bad.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's a good way, remember that it's a family thing, that you're all in this together. So how are you all going to contribute? Planning is crucial. Have a budget, stick to it. It's not sexy. You know what I found? I've read a number of money books. I'm like, you know what I found is that the stuff that you really need to do, the saving, the budgeting, the planning, is not sexy. It's not book worthy. Most people don't write books about it because it's boring, but that's usually what works. So, it's drudgery, it's a little drudging, but that's what works. Be
Sure.
ruthless,
It's sure.
with and sticking with your plan. That's gosh, it's the most adult thing you can do. I mean, you got to do some hard adulting if you're going to save money and spend less money. It is like truly where adulting comes in. I've never
Yes.
used the Dave Ramsey books or videos, but I know you have, Jenny, and I know you've used them very successfully. Again, find something that works for you. I have a notebook where I'm like, I should do it as, my business stuff is all in spreadsheets, but my personal stuff is all in yellow legal pads. So
Joe and I put together a spreadsheet last year. We finally did this together, and I got to tell you. Oh, hang on a second. My oven is going off. 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
okay. So I'll talk about Jenny's spreadsheet. Is that like when she and her husband were deciding to do this, her husband was like, not interested. but she made him come up with a spreadsheet.
The
And
perils of
so,
doing a live show from your kitchen.
so I was just
But
telling him about your spreadsheet and how you made Joe construct the spreadsheet.
he did. He constructed it. He did a fantastic job. But I got to tell you, we fought about that. That was not a great day. It was an unpleasant task, but we got it done, and I would say we use it pretty successfully. It's definitely my baby for sure, but I
Hmm.
also understand how it works, and I am I'm pretty ruthless as far as sticking to it.
Hmm.
Um, we're not in a position where we have a good savings, we have money for emergencies. We are in a good position. We don't, we have a car payment and we have our house payment, and that's pretty much all we have. But it's for me, it's always about not dipping into that savings. You know,
Hmm.
building the savings, not dipping into it, continuing. So even though we do have enough money to live, I don't like to live beyond what we bring in that every 2 weeks, that those every 2-week paychecks, that's what we live on. We're not dipping into our savings. We're not doing extravagant things because um, it feels like because you just never know when something's going to go wrong, and then boom, you have to bust out a credit card, and I don't want to do that. So that's why we
Yeah.
work so hard to try and build that savings and keep it up so that when the
Like a
time comes
pandemic.
where like a pandemic, the car breaks down, you need a new water heater. That's the things that you're always planning and saving for, always planning and saving so that you can you pay cash for that and then continue to build. And so
Mhm.
that's what we do. That's why, and that's what Dave Ramsey taught me. Now I don't love Dave Ramsey. I don't like the whole I think he's sort of a nut, but um when things were really tight for us, using his plan is what got us back on track. So,
Mhm. Well, and
and that's just
excuse me, interrupting. Use the unsexy parts of Dave's Ramsey: savings,
mm,
budget,
yeah,
planning.
snowball planning. And
Mhm.
that was really hard. But it was the first time, and I was in my 40s when I finally was like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is how this works. And that was really a big deal. It was just having somebody, and it's so funny. I stumbled across it. I was teaching a senior seminar class at Constantine High School, and this was part of their curriculum. And I'm just like, I literally took one of the workbooks home and started working through it. I'm like, oh fuck,
Ugh.
I should have been doing this. I should have been doing this all along. What?
What is this?
But
What grown
again,
up?
it's that thing that's like the second you turn adult, you should know how to do this. I'm like, and the answer is absolutely not. You should be, you have to be taught. This is like any important skill. It's like I didn't need to learn French in high school. I needed to learn this.
It was so funny because when I reached like my early 30s, I was like, well, I can add and subtract. How come I can't fucking make this work? And so I had to take a class on it. I took a class on it in my 30s. And I was like, oh, it isn't
Okay.
hard, but somebody has to show you how to do it.
Somebody has to show you how to do it, and you have to be in agreement to do it.
To
And
do it.
damn if
Yeah.
that's not the hard part. It's the
Hmm.
hardest damn thing, especially when you're doing this with somebody else, to come to an agreement of the importance of this thing.
Hmm.
And yeah. Wait, okay, Tim is still with us. This is awesome, Tim. Tim is like, hey man, typing didn't help. I know, right?
I know, right?
Such an important thing. I remember learning how to write a check in living in today's world with Mrs. Frew, but God, I didn't learn anything else.
No, I learned how to write a check. I didn't learn how to subtract from my account.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I think Aunt Vicky kind of tried to teach us one time, and I was like, "What? I don't know." Dad
Yeah,
said, "I
this is
don't know,
stupid. I
whatever."
don't have any money. I'm gonna do what mom and dad do: yell at each other. That seems to work.
Just yell at each other about the checkbook. So this
Exactly.
must be effective. Oh my God! All
We're
right,
still married. It's
we're
got to work, right?
must work, right? But then we learned out later that the reason our parents stayed married was because it was too expensive to get a divorce.
Exactly. They didn't have any money to not be married.
Oh, so I'm like, well, I guess that's a strategy too. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
That's marriage counseling in a way. I don't know.
Ugh.
Um, anyway, all right. So okay, we're running out of time here, so I'm going to go ahead and roll through this. The next one is to quit smoking. This is another big one. Tough because nicotine is one of the most addictive substances on the planet, and we pretend it's not. And then we say things like, "Hey, vaping's okay," but vaping's just you sucking in more nicotine. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you about not smoking other than don't start. That's not helpful.
Mhm.
Not helpful at all. I could do the Nancy Reagan not helpful, which is to just say no. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you other than it is very difficult to quit smoking. Um, my thoughts and prayers are with you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I never picked up the habit, which I am grateful for, because we grew up, we were young adults in the 90s when smoking was still super cool.
And I smoked in college. I loved it. I started smoking for La Belle Sur and really loved it. Loved it so much.
Yeah, you were a
And
natural, honey. You picked it right
I
up.
I did. I picked it right up. I liked it very much. And honestly, I smoked on and off quite a bit until about 2005, 2006, and then I just quit. And I haven't had a cigarette in years because I just, I'm like, I don't need this. But I never really got as hooked as like some people who are like just super hooked. So that was never really a thing for me. So, but all I can say is that you know, find help in some way, whether it's nicotine patches, whether it's books, whether it's hypnosis. Again, it's one of those things where I have no idea what will work for you other than um, keep trying, keep
Mhm,
quitting, and keep
mhm.
trying everything until you can become successful. Because in terms of health, smoking is not healthy.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, no kidding. I was
Very-
like, people are worried about being overweight. I'm like, that is
mm,
nothing compared to smoking. Nothing
compared to
compares.
smoking. So, anything you can do to quit because and again, I did not realize this because, I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes in years
Mhm.
and they're like $10 a pack right now.
I
It's
know.
like, it's like really expensive to smoke. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, no, it's super expensive to smoke.
shockingly expensive.
I'm like,
So yeah,
I thought my fancy coffee habit was expensive. No.
comparatively. So yeah, that's all I can say is that keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, try everything, try everything, try everything, try everything to quit smoking. Let's see. The next one we had was spend more time with your family and friends. Again, it's about planning, make plans, arrange visits, put stuff on the calendar, call people up. I had intended to do a lot of visiting over break, but I was just wiped. And so I didn't go anywhere and I didn't really reach out and communicate very much with people. Hung out with the family at Christmas, hung out with my family at New Year's, but other than that, really just stayed away. And I'm sorry to all my friends. Sorry, you guys. I was not a good friend over this break, but I'm just tired and just needed some quiet and lots of TV. And I did all of that. Got all my TV watching goals. So again, pick up the phone, do a Google Meet, snail mail. If a friend reaches out to you, wants to do something, reach back. And either explain that you don't want to, or explain that you need some quiet time, or just be like, yeah, let's go get a beer or whatever. But that's how you do it. It's just little things like that. As far as traveling more, um, pick a destination and make a plan, or pick a destination and don't make a plan, or just take an afternoon drive. Joe and I we went out the other day. We went to Horrocks in Battle Creek, which was lovely, and
Mhm.
had sushi and beer. And Joe had a panini, and it was good. Um, I would say if you do more traveling, just don't be a tourism asshole. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Leave the bison alone.
Yes. Again, you guys, I'm not going to go through these because, like I said, we are well over time right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and just say, reading more, that's another resolution. Resolution success or failure. It's not great, but just know that it's much your your ability to succeed in your resolutions is better if you make them and if you make a plan. People that want to make change but don't make any goals or resolutions, their success rate is 4%. So just know that I'm like, wow, I'm like, I didn't try anything and I'm all out of ideas.
Exactly. It's like, well, I thought about it for a minute and then it didn't work, so I gave up.
I don't know how that happened. So
Exactly.
just know that for those people that want to make some changes in the new year, making a resolution is the right idea. It really is. Don't overcommit yourself. And if you do make some resolutions, nothing happens without some planning and some strategies to do it. So it's one thing to make the goal. It's another thing to figure out how you're going to get to that goal. And that's what you really spend the time doing is how am I going to get here? What does my roadmap look like? You
Mhm.
know, I don't do people use roadmaps anymore? I guess
Oh, that's another thing I can put down. We know how to use a map.
we know how to use maps. Yay. I'm like,
Oh, I want to write that down.
hooray! All right. So how can you make those resolutions stick? Just make it realistic, track your progress, write stuff down, find an accountability buddy that maybe wants to resolve with you. That's kind of a big deal. And share your goals. Don't suffer in silence. Sometimes if you just talk to your friends about what you have planned for yourself, they'll help you out with it. I'm like, hey, brothers, if you're trying to lose weight, maybe you should put that ice cream cone down, or maybe just one scoop instead of four. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, whatever. Or let's go for a walk while we eat our ice cream cones.
See, that's what we call temptation bundling or whatever.
Exactly. And I was like, I walked 2 miles to the ice cream place, and I'll eat my
I
ice
had an
cream,
ice
and
cream
I'm gonna
cone,
walk 2
and
miles
then I
back.
walked 2 miles back. So, and that's great. See, that's
Win.
realistic and healthy. All right. So anyway, we have a resolution for you, Sister Squad. Your resolution is this. So during our intro and our outro, we have our QR code that pops up. You should use that QR code at the beginning and end of the broadcast to visit our webpage. Then you could go to the links that will allow you to like our webpage, or like us on Facebook or Spotify, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, or follow us on Instagram. That's your New Year's resolution, to follow us more and to make the people in your lives follow us and to subscribe to us, because that's how we are going to build our following. There's going to be other ways. You could also ask us for one of these stickers, and then we'll send it to you using snail mail. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Jenny, we need to get a PO box so we can send them out.
Oh, yes. P.O. Box your mom. Okay, good. All right. Okay. Quick sneak peek at next week. I'm going to nerd out next week, you guys. I'm going to nerd out, and I'm going to talk about geology, because I'm obsessed with the volcano in Iceland. So I want that obsession to be your obsession as well. And I'm going to talk to you about why there's a volcano in Iceland. And I'm going to talk to you about plate tectonics, geology, and rocks, because it's fun, because geology rocks. You see what I did there?
Yes. And I'm going to sit quietly and learn.
And learn about plate tectonics. Of course, you already know all this stuff, Anne. You already know this already.
I do, but it's still a good, it's one of those, like, I don't know, it was one of those for me, like a super easy science. I'm like, well, it makes sense. Stuff goes up, stuff goes down, stuff comes up, stuff goes down,
Exactly.
stuff comes up. It's like a conveyor
See, that's
belt.
why earth science is one of the most, I would say, just graspable sciences there is. Of course, there's a lot of physics and chemistry that go behind it, but just in terms of the actual concepts, it's super easy. And I'm going to share this easy science. Well, easy. I'm going to share you the easy-ish stuff about it. So you may not believe me. I don't know.
100 level. The 100 level is easy. That's why they always called it Rocks for Jocks, because anybody could pass it.
Correct. I know. I love that class so much. Again, you can support the Brothers Sisters you can subscribe on Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube. Like I said, you guys, your New Year's resolution is to share the joy of the Brothers Sisters or whatever. Okay. All right, you guys, we have talked way too much today, so I'm going to go ahead and we are going to sign us out. Wait, I have to get our music going.
Oh,
I'm going to finish with the same music we started with. That's right. The Brother Sister sitcom coming to a station near you. It feels like it's going to be on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. Wait,
Yeah.
I have to do the... All right, you guys, that's it for the Brother Sisters this week. Thank you for joining us for Smart Dumb Fun with the Brother Sisters. We will be back next week. I will talk about geology. It will be amazing. Thanks again, you guys. You are the best. Thanks for following us. And we have like 4 people that were on the show with us tonight. So anyway,
yay.
and sign yourself off.
I will. Bye.
All right, guys.